Welcome back to the Passage Unlocked, where we attempt to unlock the Bible one verse at a time. My name is Jim Burrell, and before we dive into today's passage, I want to take just a moment to acknowledge those who have been affected by the recent hurricanes. I'm definitely praying for you, and I know that the loss of physical storms can be completely devastating. If there's anything that I can do personally and specifically for you, please reach out beneath this video or contact me through Facebook or some other social media means. Today, however, we're going to recognize that not all storms come from wind, rain, and flooding. Many of us face different kinds of storms in life, whether it's the loss of a relationship, a financial reversal, the loss of a job, maybe even the loss of your health. I've been there, done that on most of those. These storms may come from various directions, but one thing remains constant. They must be faced with God in mind and the strength that He provides. Today we're going to be diving into a powerful yet encouraging passage that speaks to the heart of those going through life's most difficult challenges. Whether you're facing the loss of a home, a financial setback, the breaking of a relationship, or even a health crisis, this verse has a message of hope and assurance for you. Let's read together Isaiah 43, verse 2. Here's how it reads. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, ye shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you. You know, life most definitely has its storms. As I said a little bit earlier, they come from various forms, whether it be financial reversals, a loss of a home, a strained relationship, or a health challenge. These can feel so overwhelming in their moments, as if the waters are too deep or maybe the flames are simply too hot. In times like these, we may wonder if God is actually with us, if He actually is there going with us through those fires and through those floods. But Isaiah 43 reminds us that God is not only aware of our trials, but promises to be with us through every single one of them. Let's notice a few principles that are revealed in this passage very directly. Number one, He said, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. This verse begins with a powerful promise of God's presence in the flood. The imagery of passing through waters reflects on times when we feel as if we're sinking under the weight of life's burdens. Whether it be a financial pressure that is on us, or the loss of something valuable like a home, or even the grief of losing a loved one or a relationship, these experiences can make us feel as if we are drowning. But here God promises to be with us. Notice, He doesn't say if you pass through the waters, but when you pass through the waters. Life's challenges are inevitable, but God is so good to be faithful to us and to stand by our sides. When you feel like you're in over your head, remember that God's presence is there to steady you and to uphold you. Number two, He promises, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. There's something uniquely terrifying about a rushing river. Its strength is in its current, sweeping everything away. This might be how a situation feels. Life is like it's rushing past us, and we're getting swept up, unable to control where we're headed. It could be financial ruin. It could be losing a property or a broken relationship that has knocked you off your feet. Yet God's promise remains. The rivers shall not overflow you. Number three, He promises, when you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall flames scorch you. The imagery here kind of shifts from water over to fire, representing life's most intensive trials. Fire in Scripture often symbolizes purification, and that's important to remember. Loss, grief, illness, or betrayal, they can feel like we're walking through fire, yet God's promise is clear that He will not allow you to be burned. God doesn't always remove the flames, but He does promise that they won't consume us. Think about the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego of Daniel chapter 3. They were thrown into a literal fiery furnace, yet they were not consumed because God was with them. God may not prevent the fire from coming, but He does ensure us that it will not destroy us. In fact, the fire that we're talking about here, He may often be using to refine us, to bring out something that is stronger, purer, more resilient in your faith. But what does this all mean for us? How can we take the message of God's presence in the waters, the rivers, and even the fires of life today and apply it to our lives? Here are 3 things to remember. Number 1, trust in God's faithfulness. God has promised to be with us in the deepest and darkest of valleys. When we're struggling with loss, it's easy to feel abandoned or forsaken. But this verse tells us that God is right there beside us, even when we don't feel His presence. Trust that He's walking through those fires and challenges with you, and that'll help. Number 2, focus on God's protection, not the problem. It's easy to become fixated on the storms and the fires of life, but God calls upon us to shift our focus and to look to Him for strength. The waters, the rivers, the fires are real, but God's power is even greater than them. When we focus on His ability to protect us and sustain us, we will gain the courage to face the circumstances with peace. Number 3, remember, this is temporary. The key word here in this passage is the word through. God says He will pass through the waters and He will walk through the fires with us. We're not meant to remain in these struggles forever. They're a part of the journey, but they are not the destination. Loss, pain, and trials will pass, and on the other side, we will find joy and peace that God has been leading us toward. So how do we hold on to hope? In life, we often find ourselves navigating waters, rivers, and fires of hardship. But Isaiah 43 and verse 2 gives us this powerful promise that God goes through these things with us, and we're not alone. He will be with us, protecting us from being overwhelmed. So today, if you're struggling from a loss of a home, a property, finances, health, relationships, and so forth, hold on to the hope that God is still with you, guiding you through to the other side.